Welcome back to another interesting tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful, stylish drawstring ruched shoulder with drapes on the sleeve. This is what I got right here. As you can see, it looks so beautiful and wonderful. Looking very close to the sleeve of this dress, you notice there is a ruche at the shoulder part, and it makes the shoulder part to have these beautiful drapes you are seeing right here. This dress actually looks wonderful and beautiful. You can make it a mermaid gown and you can make it a straight gown. So let's dive into this tutorial right away. First, you are going to place your tape on the shoulder and measure your chest line, bust point, under bust, your waistline, your hip line. Then I'm going to count 4 inches above my knee line. Then I'll use this as the full length of this gown. Next, I'm going to rule my lines across. Here is my shoulder line, my chest line, bust point, under bust, waistline, knee line, and the full length of this gown. I'm just using the pepper length, but you can make your mermaid gown as long as you want. On the shoulder line, you are going to mark your shoulder divide by 2 and the neck width is 3.5 inches. On the chest line, I'll mark my shoulder divide by 2. Then you come down by 1 inch and connect your shoulder slant. Now I'm going to mark a straight line just to form an imaginary armhole. There is no armhole to this dress, but I'll show you how to go about it. On the chest line, you will mark your bust circumference divide by 4. On your waistline, you mark your waist circumference divide by 4 also. Your hip line, you mark your hip circumference divide by 4. Then I'm going to close up the side this way. You are going to take what you have on the hip line, take away 2 inches from it or 1.5 inches and mark it on the knee line and connect as shown. The full length line, I'll also use my hip circumference divide by 4, then add 6 inches to it. Now I'm going to connect a straight line this way. Then I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches just to blend up the mermaid gown. Of course, you know how to draft a mermaid gown. So this is the main bodice for the front. On the underbust line, you will come up by 1.5 inches and from that underbust, come down by 2 inches. This is just to connect the empire waist this way. But I thought of going a little bit up like 2 inches so I'll be able to have that deep curve. So I marked 2 inches, 2 inches up and down. Next, you are going to connect a straight line from your neckline to that point. Initially, I thought of making my neckline, back neckline a little bit higher, like 9 inches or 8 inches. So I actually connected the back neckline higher. But later, I have to make the back and the front neckline the same. Right here, you will notice I added my pepper. Remember, you are drafting a mermaid gown. So for a mermaid gown, we need a flow at the center back. So I added like 10 inches of my pepper. So on that neckline, I'm marking out or extending the hip line, waistline, just to mark out my zip allowance. My zip allowance is 1 inch. I'm going to mark it all the way. This time I'm going to go in by 1 inch on the waist just to contour the back waist, and I'll connect all the way to the hip line. This is my contour line, so that part is going out. Now on the knee line, I'll also go in by 1 inch this way. This is just for the butt allowance. So when you draft your mermaid gown, it will flow very well. Now I am going to connect it to that 10 inches extension of my pepper. You can make it 6 inches if you want it to flow a little. But I want to attach another pepper downwards to make it have a tail or a train. So here I'm going to also mark another 10 inches. That is if you really want a big flow, then you connect all the way down. Now I'm going to connect from that point all the way, pointing to the side of the gown this way. Next, I'm going to cut out what I have right there. So this is just a mermaid gown drafting. So of course you know how to go about the drafting. So I will replace the 1 inch on the zipper bulge line on the side. Just mark the 1 inch and replace it back to the chest line and back to the hip line. So that is the only part I'm going to replace right now. So next we are going to cut out the outer lines. So but before you do that, just mark a straight line connecting your sleeve area from the side of the dress. Like I said, there is no armhole to this dress. So I'm cutting the back piece now. So once we cut all the lines on the side, it's going to serve as the back piece. So we'll just go ahead and cut on our fabric the back piece. After cutting out the back piece, then we'll go ahead and cut out the front piece. Now I will just go ahead and cut all the lines that are on the outside, like I kept explaining, is the back pattern piece. So I kept cutting all the way down like this. Here you can see what we have there. I added some more pepper just to create that flow very well. So just make the flow very well. So I'll just cut it out this way. Here is the pattern you are going to use now to cut out your back piece. But I don't want to make a mermaid gown at all. So I'm just going to trim off this pattern to give me a pencil gown. So I'll just place my tape from the knee and mark all the way down. So we'll just make a pencil gown. If you need a mermaid gown, just use this pattern. Cut the back piece first, then you will cut the front piece with it as well. So the pencil part of this will also show you or direct you on how to go about the mermaid flow. But the main purpose of this tutorial is the upper part of this dress. So now I am going to replace that 1 inch that we took off on the zipper allowance from the knee line all the way down. I'm going to make an extension of that knee line and mark 1 inch to replace my 1 inch zip. Then I'll connect from the hip line down there. Now I'm going to mark everything in total on the knee, on the hem line, and connect with a straight line. So this is the pencil part of this skirt, or I'll call it the pencil part of this gown. We will go ahead to cut the pencil part of it. Like I said, we are not making a mermaid gown. It's all too much work for me. So after cutting out the pencil part of this gown, so we are going to extend the empire part. Like I earlier said, I decided to make the neckline run all the way to that empire part for back and front. So my zipper allowance, I transferred it to that empire line. So that means I'm going to cut off what I have there. But if you want to extend this to the other point, that means you are going to, the upper part will have a button. Okay, it's going to have a button at the upper side. That is if you want a higher neckline. But since I don't want that part, I have to cancel it and connect everything with the same neck depth. So I'll go ahead now to extend the side of this to the back side. We are still on the back pattern piece, remember, but now a pencil back pattern piece. So I've cut out the down piece. I'll set it aside. Then I'm going to cut the neckline right now, eliminating that higher neckline I did not want to use. So you just cut this pattern and use it for front and back. So the pattern we have here is for front and back. I will set the upper piece aside. I will work on the down piece first. I used only 2 yards of Ankara fabric, so I'm placing it on fold now, and I'll place my pattern on. Make sure you secure your pattern with your pins. So what I did is I made a little extension of the length of this dress. You can see I extended it a little bit. So on the folded part of this fabric, I placed that zipper part. Okay, I started to add my 2 inches seam allowance on this side. Here you can see me adding 2 inches all the way down. Then on the zipper line, the part that we contoured, I just cut it out that way. Don't add any seam allowance because we've already added. Then I added half an inch to meet up the 2 inches on this side. Next, I'm going to open up the folded part of that fabric this way. The back pattern piece is ready. I'm taking off my pattern right now. We are going to trim off the zipper allowance and trim off the replacement, so we'll be able to cut out the front piece. Note that the front piece has a slit, so I'm going to add 1 inch for my seam allowance on the front piece. After marking out the 1 inch seam allowance, I'm going to place my pattern exactly on that 1 inch. I also made 5 inches more extension on the length of my dress, just like I did on the back piece. Then I'll begin to add 2 inches for my seam allowance on the side. I also continued to add half an inch on the upper empire waist side like this. So here I have 1 inch for my seam allowance, and that is how the front pattern piece will look like. I'll just go ahead and open up the folded part of my fabric. I'm going to use this to cut out the lining for front and back. My fabric front and back is ready together with its lining. Make sure you note the wrong size of each of these fabric. Next, you are going to reduce your lining by 1 inch. The lining is going to be shorter than the main dress. After reducing the lining by 1 inch, we are going to place it on the main fabric like this, right side to right side. We are going to stitch half an inch and top stitch it. I'm done stitching the down part of this dress right now. Next, I'm going to have top stitched. I'll place it on fold this way. I'll go over to my machine. This is the back piece. Please take note, this is the back pattern we are stitching. So I'll stitch half an inch all the way, leaving the upper part open. After stitching, next I'm going to turn it to the right side this way. Next, I'm going to give it a good press. After ironing the both of them, this is what I got right here. After ironing both of them, this is what I got right here. So I'm going to place it right side to right side. We are going to stitch the zip. Stitch the zip, locate the hip line. Here is my hip line. I'm going to go up by 2 inches on my hip line, then mark 1 inch all the way downwards. I am going to stitch 1 inch all the way to the point of the zip. After sewing, please make sure you open up your seams like this before sewing your zip. The sewing of the zip, just mark 1 inch again and follow the guideline to sew your zip. The zip is ready right now, as you can see. So here I am going to chop off those excesses that came out this way. I will set the back piece aside, then we work on the front dress. Here is the front dress. I've also marked the wrong sides accordingly, and I also reduced the lining by 1 inch. So I take off my pattern right now. So for this piece, we are going to lay it right side to right side for each of them. Next, you are going to mark 15 inches upwards. That is for the slit opening. It depends on your length anyway, but I marked 15 inches upwards. Then I begin to mark 1 inch to the top. We are going to stitch close the upper part and leave the slit. I'll do that for both lining and fabric. After stitching, go ahead and open up the seams this way. I'll open up the seams for front and back. And next, we are going to chop off that excess. I will also do the same for the lining. Here the front piece is ready. We are going to place it right side to right side, as you can see, and then we are going to first stitch the down parts. Okay, after stitching the down part, I also top stitch. So we are going to put the fabric together like this. You can see the seam allowances and the slit. So because the lining is shorter than the main fabric, you have to first place it like this and locate the point, the exact point of the slit on the fabric. So I will mark the exact point of the slit on the lining too. Okay, so we'll now go over to the machine and stitch close that part. So I'll go to the machine now, stitch close that part up to the point of the lining I marked. After stitching the lining up to that point I marked, then I'll place it right side to right side right now. Make sure you align the upper part. Now you can see the slit is matching up. So I'll flip my seam allowance and secure with my pin. Just want to turn it to the other way so you'll be able to see clearly what we are doing. So I am going to pick up the pin and secure it at the front piece like this. Okay, so I just want you to see what I'm doing. Here I've secured with my pin. Next I'm going to mark 1 inch. So I'm going to stitch my slit all the way down to meet that stitching. If you look very well, you see there's a stitch there. Okay, so you have to sew to meet that stitch. I'll also do the same on the other side. Here on the machine, just to demonstrate how I'm stitching my slit, I'll stitch all the way down. So right here you can see me stitching to the point of that stitch. Then I will stop there and top stitch. Here you can see what I got right here. So the skirt piece is ready. I'll quickly turn them to the right side now. I'll turn the both of them to the right side. This is what I got after I'm done turning it to the right side. As you can see, the slit is very much ready now. Don't forget to give it a very good press. After ironing it, next we are going to flip it right side to right side again because we want to stitch close the sides with 1/2 inch. After stitching, I'm going to turn everything to the right side from the upper side this way. Next, I'm going to give the sides a very good press. And I'm going to close up the upper part with a stitch. After sewing the both of them, so now we want to jump over to the upper piece. So here you can see I've already done some little calculation, but please don't be confused. I'm going to explain. Right now we are going to take the measurement of the width of this pattern. So the highest width gave me 8 inches. I multiply by 2.5 inches because of the gathers. Then you take the two lengths of this pattern, put them together. I measure the center front length. The center front length gave me 11.5 inches and the side gave me 13 inches. So if you put them together, you'll be having 24.5 inches. That is for front and back. So I will divide it by 2, so I'll be able to get only the front. So I have 12.25. So the front is 12.25 and the back length is 12.25. So we are going to join this together. Then you also measure your round armhole. So the round armhole I'm working with is 16 inches in this case. Then I'm going to add my seam allowance of just 2 inches. Next, you are going to put the front and the back length together with the round armhole and the 2 inches for the seam allowance. Altogether, I got 45 inches. Here is my fabric. My fabric width measures 20 inches as calculated and the length measures 45 inches. So I'm going to place the 45 inches length on fold this way. We are going to bring the pattern and pin it on the open part. So you can see how I placed it. You are going to secure with your pin. The center front part will be towards the center or the front side, while the side will be on the other end. You will go ahead and add your 1/2 inch seam allowance. So if you look at this fabric, you notice it's on fold. Okay, so it's going to be on fold while we stitch it. Here I'm done adding my seam allowance. My seam allowances is just 1/2 inch. After adding our seam allowance, you make a notch at the shoulder line this way on the center front side, and you are going to also make another notch on the shoulder line of the side too. Then you are also going to make another notch on the chest line. Okay, so these are the notches required for the side. Next, I'm going to bring the other pattern. Remember that what we are just working on is just one part of the sleeve, the right side of the sleeve or the left side. So I brought back my fabric of 20 inches width by 45 inches length and place it on top of this other one I've cut, and cut out my seam allowances accordingly. So right now I have the right and left piece of this pattern. Then I'll also create my notches on the shoulder line at the center front, on the side as well. After creating the notches, this is the center front area, you are going to open it apart. Now we are going to place it right side to right side. So this is the wrong side. We are working on the center front. Take note, this is my notch on the folded part, so you are going to put it together and stitch 1/2 inch. This is my 1/2 inch stitch, and this is the neckline. Okay, so I'll turn it to the right side right now so you see it better. So you can see this is the front and back neckline on one piece. So I'll just go ahead and hem the neckline this way. After hemming the neckline, this is what you have at the center front area. Can you see that? We are going to mark the elastic part at the back of this fabric. So I'm going to mark my elastic line exactly on the shoulder line, but you can also step down like 2 inches from the shoulder line. Okay, you can mark it on the shoulder line, or you step down at 2 inches and mark it at the back of the fabric. So I'll also turn this other way and mark my elastic line. After I'm done marking the elastic line, you can see what I got. So I will go over to the side now. So here is the down part. We are going to hem the upper part, which has a fold. That is the sleeve area. Here I'm done hemming the both sides. Here is the center front area, and this is the side. You can see the sleeve side, and this is the seam allowance on this side. So we are going to ruche or put the elastic right now. To get the width of your elastic, you are going to use the measurement of your shoulder. So there I got 5 inches. I'll just add 1 inch to it because the ruche looks a little bit off shoulder. So my elastic width is 6 inches. I'm going to cut 2 pieces for the front and back. After cutting, we'll go over to sew on that line we marked earlier. So let's go to the machine. Let me show you how to sew it. On the machine, I'm going to start stitching, but as I'm stitching, I'll be dragging my elastic. And also be making little pleats, you know, just to make that part ruche or ruffle very well. So I'll keep stretching it till I get to the end of it. So once I get to the end of it, I'll backstitch. This is what I got after all. So here I've done that for the both of them. So you can see what we have right there. Here you can identify the side of the dress and the center front. So here is my center front for the front piece. I'm going to bring the down part of these bodies right now. I'm going to place the ruche part. I'll gather on it this way. I'll just go to my machine and gather this part in. That is the front piece. After pleating in the front piece, this is what I got right here. So you can see how beautiful it looks right there. So I'm going to bring the left hand side of the sleeve. Like I told you, the sleeve is for front and back. Here I am going to place it right side to right side. So I'm going to overlap it this way. Make sure you start sewing from the pointy part at all times. So I'm going to secure with my pin at that pointy part. Just place it on top of it, overlap it. It will help the neckline not to be too wide. Then I'll secure with my pin. I'll go in and pleat in. This is what we got after we are done sewing the front piece. So you can see the overlap will help the neckline to close a little bit. Now this is the back piece. You can see it there. So we are going to also sew the back to the back pattern. This is what I got after sewing to the back. You can see I pleated everything in, and this is what the dress looks like. Next, I'm going to close up the sides. We'll close up to the sides up to the seam allowance. We'll take the side to the machine. So you can see the side we notched. I'll sew down. This is the dress after I'm done sewing the seam allowance. So here is the armhole. Your arm will just pass through the armhole this way. So when you are working on this dress, you understand how it works. So here you can now overlap and pin the neckline. You can also put a little button or hook and eye at the back to control the neckline. I just secure with my pin so you understand what I mean. This is the front dress. You just pin it this way, or you can just use your brooch, or you can even tack on it to control the neck. That will come to the end of this tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.